This is Recipe for Sleep, a podcast where we dust off very old cookbooks and let them lull us into dreamland. Last episode we began Quick Cooking, a book of culinary heresies written by one of the heretics. A very straightforward guide to simple cooking from the wonderful Flora Haines Loughead. If you didn't catch episode 31, you might want to go back and listen to that intro just to hear about the wonderful Flora, also known as the Opal Queen. Tonight, we'll just sail right back into the middle of her lovely cookbook that savors simplicity over all other things, including in the way it is structured. You'll notice this is all alphabetical, and tonight we're starting with cracked wheat and apricot pudding and going right on through to the lemon section. In between, we'll find deviled meat, eggs scrambled, fairy butter, graham gems, hash puffs, icing, jelly rolls, and kidneys. Each of these simple recipes read like little poems, and I'm going to read each one to you softly and sweetly as you drift off to sleep. Now it's time to put away anything you are doing and snuggle deep into your sweet covers. Softly close your eyes and imagine the kitchen of your mind. There are two cupboards there. Yesterday's cupboard, for all the things that have already happened that your mind wants to chew on. And tomorrow's cupboard, for all the things you're going to do or what's going to happen later. It's time to put everything away in those cupboards. Imagine closing each one. You made it to this cozy, quiet time of day where there's nothing to do but listen to me read old cookbooks to you until you drift off to sleep. 67. Cracked wheat and apricot pudding. 1 cupful dried apricots. 1 cupful of sugar. 2 cupfuls milk. 2 beaten eggs. Stir the above in 1 quart of cracked wheat boiled in water 10 minutes before taking from the stove. Serve with cream or milk. By cooking a double quantity of cracked wheat for breakfast, this dish will be prepared with little outlay of time or labor. 68. Croutons. The slices of stale bread left on the table may be broken into convenient pieces and toasted in the oven until brown. A large quantity of these may be prepared at a time and will be found very convenient for use in many ways in soups, with asparagus, in breading meats, making puddings, etc. 69. Cucumbers, boiled. Pare the cucumbers. Cut into slices 1/2 inch thick. Boil in salted water with a little dash of vinegar for 12 minutes. Then serve with hollandaise sauce, $2.79, or drawn butter, $2.75. 70. Gravied cucumbers. 3 large cucumbers pared and sliced thin. Butter the size of an egg. 1/2 cupful soup stock or meat gravy. 1 rounded tablespoonful flour. 1 tablespoonful chopped parsley. Salt, pepper, and nutmeg. 6 hard-boiled eggs. Put the eggs to boil, then prepare the cucumbers and stew with the butter in a covered dish for 2 minutes. Rub in the flour. Add the stock and seasoning and cook 5 minutes longer. Then add a few spoonfuls of cream. Remove the shells from the boiled eggs and cook a minute in the gravy when they will be ready to serve. 71. Cucumber salad, fresh. Peel the cucumbers and slice them several hours before they are to be eaten. Sprinkle with salt and put in a cool place. When ready for use, drain carefully, pour a little vinegar over them, and sprinkle with pepper. This process deprives the cucumber of its crispness, but imparts to it a most delicate flavor, and in this state, observation teaches us, it can be eaten without compunction by the most unfortunate dyspeptic. 72. Cucumber catsup. A dozen large ripe cucumbers with the seeds removed, grated and drained in a colander. To the pulpy residue, add 3 chopped onions, a couple of green peppers, 1 tablespoonful of salt, and a quart of the best vinegar. Boil together 5 minutes. 73. Currant jam. Stem the currants, wash, and bring to a boil. Add an equal quantity of sugar and boil 2 minutes. The less boiling, the richer and clearer the color. 74. Boiled or baked custard. 1 pint boiling milk. 1½ cupfuls sugar. 6 eggs. 1 teaspoonful vanilla. Beat the eggs, add the sugar and flavoring, and stir into the boiling milk until it thickens. Pour out into custard cups. The same recipe may be used for baked custards, in which case the ingredients should be stirred into cold milk and baked 15 minutes in cups set in a dripping pan with boiling water in the bottom. 75. Custard fritters. Cut cold custard slices 1/2 inch thick. Dip in beaten eggs. Roll in cracker crumbs and fry to a delicate brown on a buttered pan or in hot lard. Serve with cream or milk or any pudding sauce. 76. Cutlets and chops, breaded and broiled. Breaded cutlets or chops, number 33, can be broiled by placing them in a sheet of greased paper in a wire broiler over a bed of hot coals and removing the paper at the last to allow them to brown. 77. Del Monte pudding. 1 quart of milk boiled in a double steamer. Into this, when boiling, put yolks of 5 eggs beaten, 3 tablespoonfuls cornstarch dissolved in cold water, 6 tablespoonfuls sugar. Stir until it thickens. Pour into a dish and spread over it a layer of preserved fruit and a meringue made with the whites of the eggs beaten to a froth, with a tablespoonful of powdered sugar to each egg. 78. Deviled meat. Take slices of cold fowl or any raw meat. Make little cuts in the sides with a knife and smear with the following sauce: 1 tablespoonful olive oil, 1 teaspoonful vinegar, 1 teaspoonful Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoonful mustard, a little cayenne pepper. Lay the slices of meat in a wire broiler and brown nicely. Then lay on a hot dish with a little butter in the bottom. 79. Dyspeptic pudding. 1 pint gram flour. A pinch of salt. 1 quart applesauce, thinned with boiling water. Boil together 10 minutes. Serve with cream or milk and sugar. 80. Baked eggs. Break the eggs carefully into a buttered baking dish, being careful not to disturb the yolks. Sprinkle with pepper and salt and little lumps of butter. Bake in a hot oven 4 minutes or until the yolks are set. 81. Eggs baked with breadcrumbs. Cover a buttered baking dish with a thick layer of breadcrumbs, hollowing little places into each of which break an egg. Season with pepper and salt. Cover with a layer of breadcrumbs and bake 5 minutes. 82. Egg dumplings. 2 cupfuls flour, 2 eggs, half cupful milk, 1 heaping teaspoonful baking powder. Beat the materials up together, adding the baking powder at last. When this is well stirred in, drop in tablespoonfuls into boiling water or soup. Boil 10 minutes, closely covered. 83. Escalloped eggs. A layer of bread or cracker crumbs moistened with milk and laid in a shallow baking dish. Over these, a layer of hard-boiled eggs, sliced and dipped in flour. Cover the whole with a layer of breadcrumbs. Pour over the dish a cupful of meat broth or melted butter and bake 4 minutes in a hot oven. 84. Eggs on foam. Beat the whites of eggs stiff with a little salt. Spread out on a flat earthen baking dish, making little hollows, and lay the yolks into them. Bake 3 minutes in a quick oven. 85. Fried eggs. Put a lump of butter in a hot frying pan, and when it is melted, drop in the eggs. Fry 3 minutes, season with pepper and salt, and lift out in a skimmer. 86. Eggs fried with bacon. Fry thin slices of bacon until fat is crisp. Remove from the frying pan. Drop eggs in the fat, which has been tried out in frying. Serve in the same platter. 87. Fried eggs with black sauce. Fry the eggs in butter as directed in number 85. Then fry a piece of butter in the size of an egg until it turns black. Season with salt and pepper. Add a couple of tablespoonfuls of vinegar and pour over the eggs. 88. Glazed eggs. Dilute a spoonful of glaze in a half cupful of boiling water. Pour into a hot baking dish, and while still at boiling heat, break into it half a dozen eggs, taking care to keep them in nice form. Bake in a hot oven 5 minutes. 89. Egg loaf. Cover any desired number of hard-boiled eggs removed from the shell with a layer of breadcrumbs mixed with the crumbed yolks of hard-boiled eggs. Season with salt and pepper. Sprinkle a few breadcrumbs over the top. Moisten with a little melted butter and brown in a hot oven 5 minutes. 90. Poached eggs. Break into a cup, one at a time, and pour gently into boiling water so as not to break them out of shape before they have set. If it is desired to make them particularly symmetrical, pour into open tin rings held in the water. Remove one at a time with a perforated skimmer as soon as the whites have set. Season with pepper and salt. 91. Poached eggs with vegetables. Take green beans, string beans, asparagus, or any cold boiled vegetable of delicate flavor. Heat gently in the oven and lay upon them several nicely poached eggs. 92. Egg rolls. 4 eggs, yolks and whites beaten separately, 2 cupfuls of milk, half a cupful of flour, 1 teaspoonful of salt. Fry like large griddle cakes, sending them to the table in rolls on a platter. 93. Egg scramble. 5 beaten eggs, 5 tablespoonfuls milk, half level teaspoonful salt, a little pepper. Fry in a buttered frying pan, stirring from the bottom while they are cooking. 94. Scrambled eggs with asparagus. Proceed as for plain scrambled eggs, number 93, stirring in some tender ends of asparagus left over from dinner. 95. Scrambled eggs with green peas. Proceed as with ordinary scrambled eggs, number 93, stirring in a few teaspoonfuls of boiled peas. 96. Scrambled eggs with string beans. Proceed as with ordinary scrambled eggs, number 93, stirring in several spoonfuls of boiled string beans left over from dinner. 97. Eggs and cheese. Into a buttered baking dish, put on layers each of breadcrumbs, grated cream cheese, and hard-boiled eggs sliced. Finish the top with a layer of breadcrumbs. Break a few eggs into some little hollows and bake 5 minutes in a hot oven. 98. Egg loaf and onion. Put half a dozen eggs on to boil hard. Mince a couple of large onions and simmer 5 minutes in butter, the size of an egg, and half cup of cream. Into a buttered baking dish, put first a layer of breadcrumbs, then a layer of the onion, then a layer of the hard-boiled eggs sliced, then a layer of breadcrumbs, seasoning each with pepper and salt. Pour the hot cream over the top and brown 5 minutes. 99. Eggs on toast. Toast bread to a nice brown on both sides in a wire toaster. Butter and lay 1 poached or soft-boiled egg upon each slice, seasoning with pepper and salt. 100. Eggplant, boiled and fried. Slice cold boiled eggplant, half an inch thick. Dip into a beaten egg, well seasoned, then into bread or cracker crumbs, and fry brown in a hot buttered frying pan. 101. Eggplant croquettes. Take cold, mashed eggplant. Mix with butter, salt, an egg for every cupful, and a little flour. Ball with plenty of flour on the hands. Drop into hot lard and fry 3 minutes. 102. Fried eels. Buy the fish ready skinned and dressed with the bone removed. Cut into short, thin strips. Dip each piece into a beaten egg. Roll carefully in crumbs. Drop into hot lard and fry to a nice brown. 103. Fairy butter. 1 cupful softened butter. 1/2 cupful powdered sugar. Yolks of 5 hard-boiled eggs. 1 teaspoonful rose water. Stir together and run through vegetable press a couple of times. Serve with pudding or any delicate cake. 104. Farina mush. 1 quart of boiling water. 4 heaping teaspoonfuls farina. 1/2 tablespoonful salt. Stir in the farina slowly into the boiling water and cook for 15 minutes in a double boiler without stirring. 105. Farina pudding. 1 quart boiling milk. 1 cupful farina. 1 yolk of egg and 2 whites beaten separately. 1/2 cupful sugar. Stir the farina and sugar into the boiling milk. Cool below the scalding point, then stir in the eggs. Serve cool with jelly or fruit syrup. 106. Fish, boiled. If a large fish, cut into thick slices. Tie up in a cloth and put in cold water well salted and with a little vinegar in it. Let it come to a boil and then boil from 5 to 10 minutes. A small onion placed inside the fish will add piquancy to the flavor. This recipe will apply to all fresh fish except salmon. 107. Fish, broiled. Take any small or medium-sized fresh fish. Split down the back and remove the backbone. Brush over with melted butter or lard. Season well. Then broil in a wire toaster 10 minutes. Serve with cold fish sauce, number 8. 108. Cold sauce for fish. 1/2 cupful softened, not melted butter. 1 tablespoonful chopped parsley. 1/2 teaspoonful pepper. 1/2 teaspoonful salt. Juice of 1 lemon. Stir the other ingredients into the butter and set in a cool place to harden. Served sliced on the fish. 109. Fish a la creme. Put a quart of milk on the stove to boil. Boil the fish 5 minutes in water, then shred the meat apart, removing the bones. Make a thick cream sauce of the milk, thickened with 3 tablespoonfuls of flour, well seasoned with salt, pepper, a little thyme or parsley, a small onion, and a large tablespoonful of butter. Put alternate layers of the cream and fish in a pudding dish, covering the top with sauce and a light sprinkling of bread or cracker crumbs, and if there is a little stale cheese at hand, a little of this grated. Brown in a quick oven for 5 minutes. 110. Fish croquettes. Separate cold, boiled, or baked fish from the bones. Chop fine. Season and mix with 1 egg, a teaspoonful of flour, and a teaspoonful of milk. Press into balls. Dip in a beaten egg Then roll lightly in dry crumbs and fry in a little butter. A nice gravy may be made by boiling together the bones, tail, and an onion with a cupful of water. 111. Fish salad. Shred fine the boned meat of boiled fresh fish. Mix with an equal quantity of fine cut lettuce or cabbage, a little celery, and a minced onion. Pour over it dressing number 288. 112. Force meatballs. Chop fine cold, boiled, or roast meat. Season with a little salt and pepper and a little melted butter. Ball up with flour on the hands and fry in hot lard to a nice brown. 113. Minced fowl pie. Chop fine cold turkey or chicken and moisten with gravy. Place in a shallow earthen baking dish. Cover with pie crust and bake 10 minutes. 114. Fried bread in batter. Cut thin slices of yeast bread. Dip into a batter composed of 1 cup of flour, 2 eggs, half a cup of sweet milk, and a teaspoonful salt. Fry in hot lard to a delicate brown. Sprinkle with powdered sugar and garnish with jelly. 115. Meat fritters. Cut cold, rare meat into thin slices. Moisten each with a few drops of vinegar and grate a little nutmeg over them. Dip each slice in a batter made of 2 eggs, beaten up with 2 tablespoonfuls of milk, 1 tablespoonful of flour, and pepper and salt. Fry in a buttered pan to a nice brown on both sides. 116. Strawberry fritters. 1 cupful of cream, 1 level cupful flour, 2 eggs, whites and yolks beaten separately, 2 cupfuls strawberries, a pinch of salt. Stir until the flour is out of sight, then stir in the strawberries. Roll in flour, drop in boiling fat, and fry to a nice brown. 117. Frog saddles, breaded. Dip in a beaten egg well seasoned. Roll in cracker or breadcrumbs. Drop into boiling lard and fry to a delicate brown. Serve on buttered toast. 118. Frog saddles, broiled. Brush over with butter. Season with pepper and salt, and broil in a wire broiler. 119. Fresh fruit pies. Fill ready-made pastry shells. See Remarks, Puff Paste, number 509, with ripe raspberries, blackberries, or strawberries. Sugar well and heat in the oven without cooking the fruit. 120. Fruit syrup for hot cakes and puddings. 2 cupfuls tart fruit juice. 1½ cupfuls sugar. 1 level teaspoonful cornstarch dissolved in water. 121. Gems of white flour. 2 grounded cupfuls flour. 1 heaping teaspoonful baking powder. ½ teaspoonful salt. 1½ cupfuls milk. Bake in buttered gem pans 5 minutes in a hot oven. 122. German toast. To each egg well beaten, add 1 spoonful milk. Season with salt and pepper. Dip slices of bread into this mixture and fry in butter on a moderately hot griddle. 123. Ginger snaps. 4 cupfuls sifted flour. 2 teaspoonfuls baking powder. 1 scant teacupful milk. 2 eggs beaten slightly. 1½ ounces ground ginger. 3 tablespoonfuls melted butter. 1 cupful sugar. Mix all together. Work the dough a little with the hands, then roll out very thin. Sift a little powdered sugar over the top. Cut out and bake about 10 minutes in a hot oven. 124. Graham cakes. 1 cupful graham flour. 1 cupful sugar. 1 heaping teaspoonful baking powder. 2 beaten eggs. 1 cupful Xantha currants. Bake in gem pans for 10 minutes. 125. Graham gems with baking powder. 1 cupful graham flour. 1 egg. 1 teaspoonful baking powder. 1 cupful milk. 1 teaspoonful sugar. Mix quickly together. Drop in buttered gem pans and bake from 7 to 10 minutes in a hot oven. 126. Graham shortcake. 2 cupfuls graham flour. 2 heaping teaspoonfuls baking powder. ½ teaspoonful salt. 1½ cupfuls sweet cream. Roll out in 2 large cakes about a ½ inch thick. Lay one in a buttered tin. Brush over the top with melted butter and lay the other cake upon it. Bake 10 minutes in a quick oven. When the cakes are taken up, lift off the upper one and spread sugared strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, or applesauce between and over the cakes. 2 cupfuls graham flour. 1½ cupfuls cold water. 1 teaspoonful salt. Knead and roll as thin as possible. Cut into small squares and bake 5 minutes in a hot oven. 128. Granola. Crumb cold cornbread, brown bread, graham bread, and white bread together. Brown in the oven and serve with cream or milk. 129. Bran gruel. ½ cupful clean bran. 1 pint boiling water. Salt to taste. Boil 10 minutes, then strain. Add a little orange or lemon juice if desired. 130. Smoked haddock. Brush over with melted butter. Season with pepper. Put in a wire broiler and roast to a nice brown. 131. Baked halibut. Scald with boiling water. Drain and brush over with melted butter. Sprinkle with pepper. Dredge lightly with flour. And bake in a quick oven 8 or 10 minutes. 132. Ham loaf. 1 cupful cold boiled ham, minced. 1 cupful breadcrumbs. 6 eggs. Mix the ham and breadcrumbs together. Lay on a buttered baking dish with little hollows in the top, into which break the eggs one by one. Bake 4 minutes in a hot oven. 133. Potted ham. Take the ragged remnants of sweet meat left on a ham bone, allowing 1 pound of fat to 2 pounds of lean. Mince the lean meat, then pound to a paste with the fat. Season with cayenne and pack in a small jar with melted butter over the top. 134. Ham sandwiches. Chop fine some boiled ham. Mix well with a mayonnaise dressing made after recipe 164 and spread between thin slices of bread. 135. Ham on toast. Pare off the crust from one end of a loaf of bread. Cut off thin slices. Spread each thickly with butter, thin bits of cold boiled ham, a little mustard and grated cheese. Lay one on top of the other, skewer together, and brown in a hot oven for 5 minutes. 136. Hash. 2 equal quantities of cold roast or boiled meat and cold potatoes. Add sufficient onions to give piquancy. Chop fine. Season with salt and pepper. Place in a buttered frying pan. Cover closely and fry cautiously for 10 minutes until a crisp brown crust has formed on the bottom. Invert the dish over the pan and serve with the crust up. 137. Hash puffs. Form mashed potatoes into a paste with 1 or 2 eggs. Roll out with a little flour and cut saucer-shaped. Lay upon these cold mincemeat, well seasoned. Fold like a turnover and bake 5 minutes in a hot oven. 138. Quickest icing. 1 cupful pure powdered sugar. 2 whites of eggs. Flavoring. Stir all together quickly until the sugar is out of sight, and then spread upon the cake. 139. Icing for cakes. 3 whites of eggs. 1 cupful pure powdered sugar. 1 teaspoonful lemon juice. Flavoring of any kind. Beat 2 of the whites stiff. Then add the sugar, the remaining white, the lemon juice, and flavoring. Beat only until smooth. Then spread it over the cake, first dredging a little flour over the top of the cake to keep the frosting from running. 140. Boiled sugar icing. 1 cupful pure powdered sugar. 4 tablespoonfuls boiling water. Put on the stove and stir until it commences to be opaque. Then pour over the cake. 141. Jelly roll. Bake thin sheets of sponge cake on buttered paper. Remove the paper by moistening it slightly. Spread the cake with jelly and roll it up and cut in transverse slices. 142. Kidneys breaded. Slice 1/2 inch thick. Dip in a beaten egg highly seasoned with salt and pepper. Roll in crumbs and fry in boiling lard or in a hot buttered frying pan. 143. Kidneys broiled. Slice half an inch thick, season with salt and pepper, roll in flour, and cook in a wire broiler. 144. Ladyfingers. Half cupful sugar, 2 eggs, whites and yolks beaten separately, 3/4 cupful sifted flour, 2 tablespoonfuls water. Beat all together until flour is out of sight. Press through a ladyfinger tube or paper cornucopia into the proper shapes out upon a pan lined with paper. Dredge with powdered sugar in a perforated holder with a top no larger than a pepper box, that the sugar may not be scattered on the paper. Bake 5 minutes in a quick oven. 145. Layer cake. Model for a quick cake. 2 eggs, 1 teacupful sugar, 2 heaping teacupfuls flour, 2 heaping teaspoonfuls baking powder, 1 scant teacupful milk, 2 spoonfuls melted butter. Throw all the ingredients into a mixing dish and beat vigorously together for 5 minutes. Bake in 4 thin sheets in jelly cake tins for about 5 minutes in a hot oven. This cake is an excellent model for all ordinary layer cakes. The truth is there is little difference in the composition of nice common cake and this same recipe, with all its ingredients multiplied by 2 or 3 or 4, or measured in slightly different ways, or with imperceptibly slight variations, will be found in almost any standard cookbooks, under a dozen or 2 different names. There is no use and no less mercy in confusing the housekeeper by such tricks. It is therefore submitted as a reliable model. 146. Lemon blancmange. 1 pint boiling water, 1 tablespoonful cornstarch moistened with cold water, 2 heaping tablespoonfuls sugar, juice and grated rind of 1 lemon. Bring to a boil, stirring constantly. Pour into molds to cool. 147. Lemon butter. Half cupful butter, 2 cupfuls sugar, grated rind and juice of 3 lemons, 3 eggs well beaten. Stir briskly upon the stove until the mixture thickens, when it should be at once removed. 148. Lemon toast. Yolks of 3 eggs well beaten and mixed with 1.5 cups of sweet milk. Dip slices of bread into the mixture and fry slowly to a delicate brown. Meanwhile, beat the whites of 3 eggs to a froth and add 1/2 cup of sugar to the juice of 1 lemon, a cup of water. Bring to a boil and serve with the toast as a sauce. 149. Egg lemonade. 1 white of egg beaten stiff. 1 tablespoonful sugar. 1 glass of water. Juice of 1 lemon. A delicious drink at any time, but especially cooling in fever. 150. Lettuce. Pick over the leaves carefully and throw them into cold water 15 minutes before sending to the table. When they are nice and crisp, remove them from the water to a clean cloth. Fold the cloth over and wring it. Then pull the leaves apart with the fingers, or bunching it in the left hand, slice it with a knife in the right hand. It should never be chopped, as that will turn it black. Serve with pepper, salt, and vinegar, with sugar and vinegar, or with mayonnaise dressing, number 164, according to the individual taste to be pleased. Sweet dreams.